Hello my friends. As a Fallout fan and a conspiracy theorist, it is important for myself and for the people who watch this channel that I relay the potential meanings of the number of the vaults in the Fallout universe, specifically the vaults from which the player or main Fallout TV show character come out from. There's a Fallout TV show out there now, and with it another main vault dweller that gets out into the wasteland and another vault number. As a conspiracy guy, for me there is absolutely no coincidence that the main vaults in the Fallout universe have numbers that are of high importance to the secret societies that rule the world. Let me be fair and say that the game world at least has a lot of vaults with a lot of numbers, but I'm talking here about the main vaults from which the main protagonist comes out from. The most iconic moments in these stories are when the vault dweller gets out of the vault and steps into the wasteland. Before we talk about it, let's give a brief description of what vaults actually are. In the science fiction alternate history based on 40s and 50s aesthetics, the nuclear bombs fall on October 23, 2077. But before the bombs fall, Vault-Tec Corporation offers the people of America the chance to avoid dying in nuclear war by joining their underground vaults, wait for 200 years and pop out again after that time to repopulate the Earth. This doesn't go well because if we play the Fallout games we find that there were all kinds of experiments assigned to different vaults. From experiments that led to humans being turned into horrifying mutants, to experimental cryogenics that led to the death of almost all participants, to psychological experiments to see how people would react when the group was under the control of one person called the Overseer for a never-ending amount of time. I believe that was Vault 101. People thought they signed up for safety, but they signed up to be lab rats, basically. So let's go to the numbers of the main vaults in the game and in the show. If you don't have time to watch all the video, I will tell you the numbers right now. For Fallout 3, Vault 101 or 101. For Fallout 4, Vault 111 or 111. And for the TV show, Vault 33. Before I was like, Vault 13, could be something there. 101, 111, you know, something that relates to things I talked about in this channel. But, you know, I was also thinking, it could be coincidence or something. So until this TV show, I thought a little about these numbers, but I didn't talk about it. But this TV show was the final nail in the coffin for my theory of the numbers of the main vault being occult-based. Now, this doesn't mean necessarily that the whole company is occult or something like that. It could be some people who work in the company that have an esoteric belief system or, you know, part of Freemasonry or something. Maybe Todd Howard himself, who knows. But it can also mean that the company is fully influenced by a secret society or something. As I was watching the TV show, I had a very big feeling of Illuminati confirmed type moment when I saw that in the first scenes of this show we are in Vault 33. This is the vault from which our main character comes from and from where she gets out into the world. The number 33 is the most important number for practitioners of the occult and secret societies, so much so that the highest degree in Freemasonry is 33. We know how much influence the Freemasons have had over the world, and I don't want to go over it now because I want this to be a short video. Don't know if that will be possible, but they are a big deal. And they've been amongst us and in control of a lot of things for hundreds of years. You know, things like establishing control over states' economies, writing constitutions of important countries, owning important companies and controlling worldviews through entertainment, all while worshipping Satan, although officially they will never recognize that. They are the continuators of the philosophies of the secret society known as the Illuminati, which believe themselves better than everyone else, as they had members from science and philosophy, rich men, things that were tired of the Christian rule, and they wanted to change it with a more secular system, and then later on, even transform it into some kind of satanic system. The world is their chessboard, and they control the world through the use of dualistic opposite energies that are both in their control, like the dualistic nature of the chessboard itself. You have the white and the black. A lot of their symbols are of dualistic nature. So right now, let's say it would be the progressives versus the conservatives. And imagine if they both have representatives that are under the control of the Freemasons, then no matter what happens, the Freemasons win. It's a good way of ensuring a perpetual dictatorship, and anytime a new movement comes out with revolutionary opinions, they will hijack it and use it for the same purposes.
War never changes.
You would say that 33 was the age of Jesus Christ himself, when he died and resurrected in the third day, according to scripture, and you are correct. But we must also remember that these guys follow a fallen angel, which wants to copy God and even God's numbers and twist it for evil purposes. There is a lot of magic and esoteric teachings mixed in Freemasonry, and in numerology, 33 is the master number, the numbers that connects us to God, and the numbers through which God's light will shine into our world. It is pure love, they say. Sounds all good, right? Well, I wonder whose light shines and what God they follow, because a lot of 33rd degree members of Freemasonry have questionable morality, such as Aleister Crowley, and here is where a whole rabbit hole opens. Mary Butt, one of Crowley's recruits, pointed out it was one thing to partake in the rite of preparing the cakes of light, in which Crowley, in a scarlet and black robe, sacrificed the cockerel for its blood, but quite another to participate in bestiality. Sexual magic was a part of Crowley's philosophy, culminating with one of the disciples having engaged in sexual intercourse with a goat. The goat represented the devil. It is rumored that Crowley did all kinds of black magic, strange rituals by moral standards. In 1999, the Eyes Wide Shut movie was released, which showed how powerful people from all fields come together and partake in group sex rituals and with the sacrificing of a young woman. The writer and director of this movie died mysteriously in the year the movie was released. Could it be because he was exposing too much? The movie was even edited again before release. Could he have exposed even more than we know? Most recently, the Epstein Island has proven that a lot of powerful people from banking, acting, politics, etc. are into some strange pedophile activities. Moreover, when Mel Gibson released a movie, The Sound of Freedom, where he was exposing child trafficking cartels, and it was a very good movie with a very good message, the press, controlled by these assholes, tried to stop his popularity and to make fun of Mel Gibson. So it shows to you how triggered they are when they are being exposed. In these same circles, occultist magicians like Marina Abramovich thrive. Is basically the new Aleister Crowley, who do the same type of rituals except masked as modern art masterpieces. Her most famous disciples from the pop music world being Lady Gaga, in which she influenced her videos a lot, and Jay-Z, who in conspiracy circles we know very well that he's like the kingpin of the music industry when it comes to this Illuminati stuff. In the modern age, of course. So the modern age of stars are inspired by Marina Abramovich, and the old school stars from the rock and roll rock industry in the 70s and 80s were more inspired from Aleister Crowley and Anton LaVey. There is also a situation leaked by WikiLeaks where an email between Tony Podesta and Marina exists, and they're about to do a spirit cooking at the Podesta family. Another alleged conclusion from those email leaks was that John Podesta and Hillary Clinton ran a child sex trafficking ring through a pizza place. Bill Clinton went on trips with Epstein's plane called the Lolita Express, a term used because the plane was used to traffic young girls. There are all kinds of connections, and the rabbit hole never ends. What is important to take out of this is that the most powerful people from politics, entertainment, and other fields are into occult rituals with strange spiritual teachers like Marina Abramovich for today's world and Aleister Crowley for the controllers of the past. They hang out together and they do strange rituals, sometimes involving animals or underage boys or girls. They are all obsessed with numerology and esoteric beliefs, and they share some of these symbols and numbers with secret societies like the Freemasons, which have had a tremendous influence in our world. So, after hearing all this, can you trust that when they think about 33, they think about Jesus Christ? Or some kind of positive enlightenment and perpetual love? I don't think so. It's most likely that they think about the fallen angel Lucifer, so the number 33 means the devil and the connection to him. So let's go through some of the other numbers of the vaults, which more or less point towards the same thing. Vault 13 from Fallout 1 and 2. Well, you don't get out of a vault when you play Fallout 2, but the main protagonist is the son of the legendary vault dweller from Fallout 1. In the start of this adventure, is given the vault dweller's jumpsuit, a Robco Pip-Boy 2000 and Vault 13 water flask. Note that at that time, this game was owned by a completely different company, called Interplay, I believe. But somehow the messages are the same and the occult influence is there. So that can either mean two things. All of these companies are owned by evil occult people, even the smaller companies, which most people would think would be unlikely. Or it could mean some other thing. It could mean that the devil works through people and it whispers into their ears. And sometimes they don't even know that they are writing his work, but it's there. They're getting influenced because they don't have any kind of spiritual shield, so they end up writing what the spirits tell them, or the demons tell them, to be more exact. So let's explore some of the meanings of the number 13 in different cultures, and where it can go from positive to very negative. For the Mayans, 13 was a sacred number representing completion as evidenced by their calendar systems. In their cosmology, the Egyptian perceived life as a journey of 12 stages, with the 13th stage signifying the afterlife and transformation. Meanwhile, in the ancient city of Babylon, the code of Hammurabi allegedly skipped the number 13, possibly indicating an early superstition surrounding it. In many ancient cultures, lunar cycles were integral in shaping the calendar and influencing beliefs. There are approximately 13 lunar cycles in a year, so this number became intrinsically linked with the moon and its energies. This connection often associates 13 with divine feminine, as the moon is frequently personified as goddess or female energy in various mythologies. The trepidation surrounding the number 13 in certain cultures can often be traced back to religious or mythological tales. One of the most well-known stories comes from Norse mythology, where a banquet in Valhalla was disrupted by the uninvited 13th guest, Loki, leading to chaos. Similarly, in Christian tradition, the Last Supper had 13 individuals present, with Judas Iscariot, the one who would betray Jesus, being the 13th member to sit. Such stories have contributed to the unlucky 13 sentiment that persists in parts of the world today. In Jewish tradition, the age of 13 holds significant value. For boys, turning 13 is marked by the bar mitzvah ceremony, signifying their coming of age and assuming religious responsibilities. For girls, this tradition is celebrated with the bat mitzvah at 12 or 13, depending on the denomination. I don't know about you, but I was still a dumb kid at 13. Across the world, the number 13 manifests in various religious narratives. For instance, in Sikhism, The number 13, pronounced as Tera in Punjabi, signifies yours, referring to everything belonging to the divine. Meanwhile, in certain indigenous cultures, 13 is revered due to its alignment with lunar cycles and natural rhythms. Despite the common reputation in numerology, the number 13 is seen as a powerful and transformative. Breaking it down, it consists of 1, symbolizing leadership and assertiveness, and 3, indicative of communication and creativity. When combined, the energy converges to denote growth, change, and the ability to overcome challenges. The 13th vibrational essence encapsulates cycles of transformation and rebirth. It beckons the shedding of the old to embrace the promise of new beginnings. There's been a resurgence in interest in ancient practices like numerology. The number 13, with its rich tapestry of meanings, I'm reading this from a numerology website, has emerged as a focal point for many spiritual seekers. New Age practitioners often highlight its transformative power, promoting its positive attributes rather than the commonly held negative superstitions. Well, of course they are. Pop culture has always had a fascinating relationship with the number 13. The unlucky 13 trope is popular in horror films, underscoring its ominous reputation. Oh yeah, that's for a reason. The occultists work in horror films and they know what it is about. Yet in stark contrast, spiritual retreats and workshops often incorporate the number, using its vibrational energy as a beacon for transformation and enlightenment. Yeah, because they don't really know what it's all about. With the rise of rationalism and scientific inquiry, many age-old superstitions surrounding the number 13 are being challenged. Buildings are reintroducing the 13th floor, and events scheduled on the 13th are no longer taboo. Yeah, because we're moving more far away from God and more closer to Satan. Here's what I take from this. Of course, the rulers of the world, Freemasons, etc., and the designers of these numbers for these vaults are all into more the numerology stuff, so they will perhaps see it as a transformative number rather than the old ballad omen meaning. But maybe for them, the bad is good, if they're truly occult. So again, they are using the transformation energy to transform us into the image of the Antichrist. So look at everything that is being pushed forward by the progressives in our culture today, and you will understand what I mean. That's not a change that I want to be part of or look forward to. You see, the TV show Fallout embraces this change that by them is seen as a positive thing, but by us as a negative thing. So they make sure to take all the diversity boxes. In every group of people, they make sure to have all the races, feminism boxes with their female leads, and even add a non-binary character by the name of Dane, which is played by a trans actor, Celia Mendes Jones. Now the other stuff doesn't bother me as much as this last mention. Now when it comes to the diversity stuff, with the racial stuff, I don't care as much about that. I guess what I'm trying to say is that the diversity stuff only bothers me because it's a forced diversity. It's kind of cringy that the Americans, in anything they make, they try to have equal races of anything, of every race. It's weird and cringy. Now on top of that, they come with female leads because of this feminist influence, and last but not least, this whole non-binary, gender confusing stuff. You know, they're pandering. They do a lot of pandering. Hollywood does a lot of pandering. And I personally think is to create a lot of confusion and to create this kind of anti-Christic world with all the degeneracy and no clear point of view or meaning to life, but rather just everything relativistic. In Fallout 3, we have Vault 101. This will be a weird one, but if you've made it so far, might as well hear this too. You might be inclined to think that 101 is an American thing from education that indicates a basic or entry level of study in a subject, for example, Chemistry 101. But in Freemasonry, the number 101 represents the customary Masonic lodge number. This number in Masonry represents the Temple of Solomon's two pillars, Boaz and Jachin, accompanied by the central brazen C, 0, forming the 101, which literally symbolizes the entrances to the Holy of Holies, or figuratively signifies the beginnings of one's esoteric and Gnostic journey to self-actualization. So it's a different kind of level of study. This is a surface definition. However, if you've watched my videos or some of the old school conspiracy theories on YouTube, like around Saturn's Eye, which is now called Rise, or Nicholson 1968, we consider this number to be much more, and in short it's basically a portal to hell, an opening to a new dimension that we are not supposed to play with, something that possibly the people at CERN, the European Nuclear Research Lab, will open. And considering that their logo is a 666 and at their opening ceremonies they have dancing goats, it's not far from the truth.
I'm willing to take full responsibility for the horrible events of the last 24 hours, but you must understand. Our interest in their world was purely for the betterment of mankind. Everything has clearly gotten out of hand now, yes. But it was worth the risk, I assure you.
From entertainment and writings, 101 is the room where Neo lives and is introduced to the Matrix. In his room, Neo is awakened and confused by strange messages from his computer that tells him, "Wake up, Neo, the Matrix has you, and follow the white rabbit."
You're 2 hours late. I know.
Room 101 can also be seen as an allusion to the Room 101 of George Orwell's novel 1984. It is a torture chamber in the Ministry of Love in which a prisoner is subjected to his or her own worst nightmare, fear or phobia. They also call the room the worst thing in the world. The number 101 also appears in The Matrix Reloaded when Morpheus, Neo and Trinity first go meet the Merovingian. It is above them as they are walking down the hall. Possibly another Orwell reference, seeing as how their worst fears are realized in this place. The place is wired with explosives and has the ghost twins and the werewolf that Persephone later kills. The Frenchman is also a Hades figure, seen in Club Hell in the Matrix Revolutions, which, together with his betrayal by Persephone, alludes to Greek mythology. Now, the Wachowski brothers definitely know a lot of Gnostic stuff and esoteric stuff. They're probably initiated into a secret society or something, because Matrix is full of reference to all of these esoteric, deeper knowledge, meanings that these people believe. And, you know, speaking of the confusion, of the change, confusion that 13 brings, which I talked about before, it happens to the Wachowskis too, because now they are the Wachowski sisters. So there's that. And their movies really started to suck after that. Anyway, so reading all this, we can make a conclusion that it is a number and a symbol for secret societies like the Masons or high-level occultists that work in the entertainment industry. Know that it's a passage of initiation, but into Luciferian teachings, an actual meeting with the fallen angel, or perhaps even a literal opening of a doorway to him so he can come onto our world as the Antichrist, because right now the people at CERN are throwing particles at each other at beyond the speed of light, hoping to find answers about dark matter and what they call in some science papers as God's particle, the Higgs boson. I think they're most likely to find the opposite particle of God and unleash that into our world. Apocalypse prophecy is really starting to fulfill with all these rumors of war that we have and the sacrifice of the red heifer with the building of the third temple in Jerusalem. Last but not least, we have Vault 111 in Fallout 4. If you use a bit of imagination, you can figure out that Vault 111 represents the work of 101 complete, with the addition of a 1, where before we had a 0 between the two pillars. Here's what I get from the numerology people. The number 111 is often associated with new beginnings, manifestations, and spiritual awakening. It is considered a powerful number that signifies a connection with the divine and the potential for growth and positive change. Well, I'm saying the same. It is a gateway, the gateway to death. If you look in there to interpret this stuff as the ones who rule over us from the shadows. And sometimes it's not even the shadows because they put this in front of our eyes. If you look at the TV show, what happens in Vault 33? Well, death happens. What happens when she goes outside of the Vault 33 gate? More death. So this can't be about Jesus Christ or anything like that. The first thing she sees is skulls in the dust. I don't know what is real, and I'm not an occultist. But I see these patterns and where our world is going. I also see the numbers that they like to put out, and I see where their science research is heading. I can only see one conclusion to it all. I kind of stopped making videos because it's always the same stuff. But seeing this in the Fallout TV show, I have the responsibility to tell you since I know about this stuff and no one else is covering it. So that's all I got for this video. Thanks for watching. Follow Jesus Christ because he's the one who will take you to eternal life and not eternal nothingness and pain like Satan. This is Vostok Vlad, signing out.